Impetus, Episode 108, Impulse 3. A promo package for the pay-per-view takes place at the beginning of the show. The third annual Impulse is promoted as a royal experience. The grandeur that is known as Impetus's biggest pay-per-view has arrived. With tonight's World Impetus Championship match advertised to Greg Williams' surprise, the press conference between Riki Mathews and the Rebel is heard where the two got a lot off of their chests. For the second year in a row, Riki and Greg compete for the world title, only this time the roles have changed. Will the champion retain like last year, or will Riki reclaim what he lost so long ago? Tonight, the revolution of Impetus takes effect as Greg Williams faces Riki Mathews for the World Impetus Championship. After an intro, commentary are then seen at the desk. Aaron and CJ welcome all to the biggest pay-per-view of the year. Tonight, appearances will be altered, walls will be broken, and mockery may be the sincerest form of battery. Enter Warren Jaxon. Kicking off the show with the Coast to Coast Championship match, Jaxon enters with his gold, prepared for a 2-on-1 challenge. As the champion gets in the ring, a promo package is seen for the following contest. With Warren retaining his title at the 2-year anniversary spectacular, Empire rose as the next challengers. Vowing to gain redemption for the loss of Dave Falcon and Sam Pullen, Corey and Blake care not who emerges as champion, as long as Warren is defeated. Despite the threat, Warren showed little fear to his former allies of Extraordinary, as he happily screwed them out of the tag team title match against El Fuego, placing himself as the special guest referee. Not to mention, he shoved a pube in Corey's face. However, last week, Warren was humbled as he not only tapped out to the pain of Empire's double crossface, but lost to the team of his enemies and Steven Dreadful. With triple threat rules applied tonight, will we have a new Coast to Coast champion? Enter Empire. Grinning from ear to ear, Corey and Blake rub their hands with anticipation, very aware of the numbers advantage. Match 1. The Coast to Coast Championship Triple Threat Match. Corey versus Blake versus Warren Jaxon. Warren does well to counter the oncoming double team of Corey and Blake. However, not good enough, as Empire eventually beat down their former partner. Using Dave Falcon's classic moves against the champion, Empire loved to talk trash while inflicting the Dave Falcon pain. As Warren hopes to regain momentum, he gets stopped by a chair shot to the back. Taking advantage of the triple threat stipulations, Empire whacked the chair of Warren's fallen body, destroying the champion more and more. Corey and Blake then lock in a double crossface on the champion, much like last week. Warren is writhing in pain and, after a while, submits by yelling to the official. Empire release the hold, but the bell does not sound. The official has no idea who to award the victory to, seeing as both men applied the hold at the same time. Empire don't care which one of them has won as long as Warren loses. With the official not making a final decision, Warren slowly rises to his feet, only for Corey to use the previously dropped steel chair and smack it in Warren's face. Furious with their denied win, Empire then grab another chair, placing the first underneath Warren's knee. In control, Empire take their time and prepare for more poetic justice as they hope to take Warren out the same way that he took out Dave Falcon. With Corey raising the chair high, ready for a concerto to the knee, Warren counters by kicking him right in the balls. Hoping to act quickly, Blake tries to elbow drop Warren's leg, only for the champion to dodge, crashing Blake's elbow into the steel. With Warren recovering, his comeback now starts. Taking down both opponents, Warren goes up top and delivers a double elbow drop. He chucks Corey out of the ring and picks Blake up for the overdrive. However, about to hit the move, the music of Dave Falcon plays. Warren is obviously shocked by this, dropping his opponent, expecting an attack by the adrenaline legend himself. However, Dave Falcon does not appear. The music stops with Warren looking around for answers. However, Empire are waiting to deliver their Thunder from Down Under tag team finisher. However, for the first time ever, Empire's tag team finisher is countered. Sent into the air, Warren hits Corey with a dropkick, crashing him into Blake, sending him out of the ring. With Corey stunned, Jaxon hits the overdrive. Rather than pinning, Corey gets trapped in the Indian Deathlock. About to submit, it looks as though Blake can run in the ring to stop the submission, only he takes way too long, causing his partner to tap out. Warren retains his title. Winner, Warren Jaxon. As Warren exits with pain yet happiness, Aaron and CJ debate as to who should be the Coast to Coast champion. As CJ expresses sympathy for the recovering Empire, Aaron reminds us of Warren's vow to hold the title for over a year, and if he keeps up this performance, he'll be beating Dave Falcon's title reign before we know it. The question remains, will another promise be delivered? As, up next, Akira versus Jacinta. Akira hopes to prove that you can make it in this business without the use of cosmetics. Seeing the commentary team at the desk, of course, CJ sticks up for Jacinta, claiming that she's a huge star and shouldn't be disrespected. Aaron argues, claiming that Akira may actually have a point in all of this. Perhaps this business does rely on female aesthetics to gain a higher position on the card. If it is true, this is something Akira wants to change. CJ cares little for what Akira thinks and wants to know Jacinta's thoughts. We then head into a backstage interview in the backstage area with Jacinta. Introduced, Jacinta is irritated as the camera focuses on her colourful face. With her match up next, she is asked for her thoughts after being beaten by her former employee, Jade Williams, last week. Jacinta is further irate as clearly the interviewer and the audience missed it all last week. They clearly missed the fact that she was supposed to lose. She wanted to lose that match. She entered as her younger, more naive and less independent self, the same way she views Akira. Sure, she didn't expect to get dropped on her face last week. Sure, she didn't expect Jade to be so damn brutal. But Jacinta would have never lost to the ungrateful Jade if she actually tried. She was making a point, showing what Akira looks like, communicating how she fights and what little impact she has made on the women's division. She said it before, and she'll say it again. The way to make it on top is to look like a star, act like a star, be a star. After their match, everyone will be reminded of who the true star really is. Enter Akira. Entering with a little more controversy surrounding her, the commentators are keen to see Akira prove her point. Enter Jacinta. Full of controversy, Jacinta enters the pay-per-view with an over-the-top fashion sense. With large feathers sticking out of her shoulder pads and her overly coloured tights, Jacinta is happy to stick it to Akira even more. Match 2. Jacinta versus Akira. During her dominance, Jacinta mocks her opponent even more, talking trash and being the cocky Jacinta that we all know and, well, know. Using this match to make her own point, Jacinta decides to pander to the crowd, showing off her accessories and parading herself around like a queen. However, it costs her, leading to Akira firing back with anger and hitting a unique finishing move that combines the pump handle slam into a twisting neckbreaker. Akira gets her first huge win. Winner, Akira. Defeating the arrogant Jacinta has allowed Akira to prove that success can be obtained not through glitz and glamour, but by hard work and perseverance. As the new hero exits appreciating the fans' support, Jacinta is seen in the ring, fixing herself, trying to look pretty in spite of a loss. A promo package is then seen for Impetus's next pay-per-view. Episode 116 will host the next pay-per-view titled Hunt You Down. After the pay-per-view commercial, we then see highlights from Triple J's podcast earlier in the week. A replay from last week is shown, as highlights of Jimmy and Jack's previous podcast episode is shown. The two are seen talking about Jillian Day and how she has been pathetically trying to be their manager once again. Explaining the recent rules made by Vipernip, they react to the highlights of their quick match with the new team, the Switchblades, from last week. With Jillian assigned a tag team, the team must lose in order to gain help from her. With Triple J not wanting anything to do with their former manager, they ended the match instantly, solidifying their lives without the hoe. Jack and Jimmy have fun and apologize to the Switchblades, making sure that they'll give them a longer match next time. Drinks are on them. As for Jillian, they wish her the worst in her future endeavors, as no one cares about her. They repeat what Vipernip has said all along. Nobody wants her. After the Triple J banter, we then see a scene backstage with Jillian Day and Vipernip. Jillian has just watched the previous Triple J podcast and is furious. Huffing and puffing, she storms out of her locker room and charges down to Vipernip's office. Storming in, she yells at her boss, who is in the middle of a meeting with the Essentials. Ignoring anything but her own feelings, she screams at the boss, demanding that he punish Jack and Jimmy for their words against her. She complains about last week and demands another chance to become their manager as they cheated to win. Vipernip is sick of Jillian whinging. If Triple J didn't make it obvious last week, they are not only fine without her, but clearly do not need her. It's time she moves on and look for a team who does need her. Jillian begins to yell, but then sees the Essentials. She raises her eyebrows with hope, only for Josh and Freddie to bolt the hell out of the room, refusing to communicate with her. Vipernip tells her that maybe she should consider a backstage role in the company. An interviewer, perhaps? Jillian is insulted and refuses to lose. The tag division needs her whether they realize it or not, and will create future champions. Just watch her. Jillian storms off with Vipernip rolling his eyes. Before heading back to action, the Firewall must take place. Enter El Fuego. Through the fire and the flames, El Fuego are lit up. Licio and Cinxia are excited to be here at Impetus's biggest show, Impulse. Licio is so excited that he could wet himself. Cinxia hopes that Licio doesn't get too excited, as he might crap himself again. That was one time, okay? Licio is embarrassed and lamely defends himself. He believes Cinxia would have crapped his pants too if he was facing an evil, deranged and psychopathic opponent. Cinxia agrees that he may actually have a point, and hopes that El Fuego don't ruin their good underwear this evening as they approach another title match. As the virtual wheel spins, it lands on Mark Emil and Jarvis Banks. As the music hits, waiting to see the challenger's arrival, Cinxia checks Licio's pants once again, relieved that they are clean. Enter Mark Emil and Jarvis Banks. Taking a while to enter, Dylan Dark's new henchmen approach the ring with their half masks equipped. Match 3. Tag Team Championship match. El Fuego versus Mark Emil and Jarvis Banks. As the villainous rookies stare down the worried champions at the start of the contest, Cinxia searches through his pants, not to check for poop, but to pull out 2 El Fuego masks. He offers them to Mark and Jarvis, hoping to snap them out of their Conrad damnation like trances. It doesn't work though, as the challengers beat down the champions to start the match. Despite their offense, Mark and Jarvis are countered by El Fuego, as they fire back and win with the Fireball. Winners, El Fuego. With Mark and Jarvis recovering in the ring, El Fuego exit with their titles and their butts secured. As the champions walk up the ramp, they are confused to see the fast-paced Jillian Day walk past them. Jillian gets in the ring and helps the fallen opponents up. The masked men then look at her with confusion, wondering what the hell she wants. Jillian seems to have taken Vipernip's advice and decides to focus on a new tag team. She begins to sell the idea to the perplexed rookies, only for the lights to go out. Then a spotlight appears behind Jillian in the ring. In the light steps Dylan Dark. He and his team stare Jillian down, threatening an attack. The female throws her hands in the air with mercy, exiting the ring, wanting nothing to do with the threesome. Dylan Dark, Jarvis Banks, and Mark Hamill then stay in the ring for a promo. Dylan looks at his recovering allies and tells them that, yes, they may have lost. Yes, they may have disappointed a few people, especially a father or two, but he is not mad. They're still young, still inexperienced, still rookies. Dylan reminds them of his goal to destroy the rookies of this business, not to eliminate them from it, but to make them stronger. The naive young minds that exist in this current day sicken him, as they simply bide their time waiting for their careers to ascend. It doesn't work like that. You have to cause chaos, inflict pain, and create anarchy everywhere around you. That is why he has provided Mark and Jarvis with his condemnation masks, so that they can create chaos just like he did. Just like he did, just like he does, and continues to do. The masks have provided them half of what Conrad was and represented. Destruction, pain, Satan himself. Soon, the possession will fully take over, creating a dominant duo, allowing Dylan to become to them what he eventually will be to everyone else, an emperor. What stands before him is the condemned nation, and he is their emperor. Dylan explains Mark's actions from last week and how he had too much pressure from his father. Yes, the dad may have shown support and motivation for his son, but he never wanted this journey for Mark. He never wanted Mark to pursue wrestling. Even though Mark achieved his dreams, it was never enough deep down for the father. As Mark slowly nods with agreement behind him, Dylan congratulates Mark for taking out his oppressor and tells him that, despite his loss tonight, he is proud of him. In the condemned nation, he will never be a disappointment. The two then hug. As for Jarvis, he never had an oppressive father because he never had one. Period. Jarvis's lack of childhood made him unfamiliar with the terms of creating a plan. Yes, he got to live his dream of wrestling, but Dylan could tell that after signing the contract of Impetus, there was never a next move for him. Dylan claims that, thanks to him, Jarvis now has a future plan that will lead him to high success. The condemned nation will grow, his loyal peasants and children will grow, and he, as stated, will be their emperor. The condemned nation leave as a solidified unit, heading into a commercial break. The commentary team then welcome back the audience to the show and discuss the excitement that we have seen thus far. However, CJ goes crazy for the following match. Up next, the Women's Championship is on the line as Jade Williams challenges Daria for her title. With Jade being ignored for far too long, she hopes to certify herself as a champion. A promo package between the two is then seen before their contest. With Daria expecting her division to step up, Jade Williams did so by becoming the new number one contender by winning a Battle Royal on episode 102. However, this was quickly forgotten. Accepting Courtney's hardcore title match challenge at the 2-year anniversary spectacular, Daria put her opponent through a table to retain her gold. However, sick of the ignorance since episode 102, Jade appeared and sent the champion through her own table. From here, Jade has been unstoppable, becoming a huge threat for her deserved title match. With Daria questioned by CJ, she admits to ignoring Jade's attempts to be noticed. Hoping to eliminate Jade from the equation, will the giant challenger be forgotten once more? Enter Jade Williams. Enter Daria. Match 4. Women's Championship. Jade Williams versus Daria. Daria falls quickly to the power of Jade. Fighting back multiple times, the champion just can't seem to floor her opponent. With Jade in huge control throughout most of the match, she is frustrated to see her resilient opponent kick out multiple times. Impatient, Jade prepares Daria for the powerbomb. Set up high, Daria reverses into a surprising sunset flip and pins Jade to retain her gold. Winner, Daria. After the match, Jade instantly attacks Daria, furious with the sudden loss. The ambush continues around the outside of the ring to where Jade finally hits the powerbomb on Daria through the announce desk. Jade is still furious and exits after laying out Daria once again through a table. With CJ applauding as Jade leaves, Aaron is demanding help for the champion. As Daria lays out unconscious, a promo package for episode 109 is seen. Next week, the Coast to Coast Championship will be on the line as Steven Dreadful faces Warren Jaxon. The Essentials call out El Fuego for a shot at the tag team titles, plus the World Impetus Champion will be in action. The question is, who will it be? We then return to Daria backstage in a hallway. Helped to the back by medical personnel, Daria is taken to the medical room. A sympathetic Aaron speaks of what has just occurred. Heading back to the commentary desk, CJ cares little for Daria's health, claiming that she had this coming by ignoring Jade's ability. Aaron is sick of his partner and tells CJ to just go marry Jade if he likes her so much. A competitor has been assaulted and taken to the medical room. A little more compassion would be nice. With CJ now humbled, Aaron hopes to move on with the programming. We then see a backstage segment, this time in the locker room of Riki Mathews. Riki Mathews is warming up for his world title match. The commentators then discuss the poetry of walking in as the challenger, much like Greg did last year, and perhaps walking out the champion, just like he did last year. Enter Johnny Fabuloso and Terri Delighta. Terri introduces the world to the most gorgeous man in not only wrestling, but the entire entertainment industry. As his stylist, wrestling manager, and modeling agent, Terri has a lot of hats to wear. Johnny may be a fabulous looking man, but looking this good comes with time and effort that he puts in himself. Finding the right brushes, concealer, hairspray, etc. takes a lot of time and research. Terri boasts about how he signs Johnny to specific matches, allowing him time and preparation to compete and win, may he add. As Johnny's modeling manager, he needs to set up photoshoot times, organize outfits, and rent out specific locations. He does a lot to make Johnny this fabulous. Terry's not out here, though, to search for credit. He's out here to ask a question. Terri may put all this much effort, time, and stress into a megastar like Johnny Fabuloso, but there is only one man's efforts that can allow Johnny the chance to become the world champion. That man is who Terri is calling out right now, Vipernip. After waiting for their boss, enter Vipernip. The president of Impetus soaks up all the audience and comedically insults who stands before him in the ring. He's a little unfamiliar with Terri Delicate and Johnny Fabulasshole, but he's fairly sure that the only time the fans were happy to see Johnny is when his Oompa Loompa looking face was covered by a mask. This is Impulse 3, the biggest show of Impetus, and Vipernip is wondering why these two bum boys are out here stealing his pay-per-view time. Terri is insulted, asking Vipernip if he knows who he and Johnny Fabuloso are. Johnny is the next world champion. He's Impetus's future top star, future global sensation, and not only is Vipernip an idiot for insulting the Fabulous One, but an even bigger idiot by not making a title match for Johnny official yet. Johnny calmly takes the microphone from his stylist. Pulling out a pocket mirror, Johnny checks on himself before speaking. He tells Vipernip that he has been mocked and insulted his entire life. It doesn't affect him. What does affect him, though, is not being given his much-deserved title match. In fact, it affects Vipernip and the whole of Impetus. Johnny's career is about to blow. Vipernip better think long and hard before wasting a title shot on someone else. Johnny asks for the answer to the question, is he in or out? So, Vipernip asks, Johnny's career is about to blow? And Vipernip better think long and hard. And he wants to know if Vipernip is in or out. Vipernip reckons Terri and Johnny have been hanging out way too much. Over-dramatically insulted, Terri is about to storm out with his client, only for Vipernip to stop the fun and games. Vipernip has been paying attention to Johnny. His win-loss record over the last few weeks has been impressive. Despite needing to have less tainted wins, Johnny has gained momentum and, as a result, will be awarded with a match. With the duo excited, they are disheartened to hear Vipernip announce that Johnny will take on the loser of tonight's main event next week in a number one contenders match. With Johnny accepting in sadness, Terri is frustrated. The stylist starts to yell and can't believe Vipernip is making his biggest star go through multiple steps in order to become champion. Johnny tries to stop his manager, only for Terri to get more passionate. Terri insults Vipernip, calling him an overrated, washed-up loser who should have stayed retired and never become the owner of Impetus. Johnny finally shuts him up by shoving his pocket mirror in Terri's mouth. Hoping to leave with his match still on, Vipernip holds the duo back. The president is happy to keep the match on, despite the words from Terri the dumbass. After all, he is happy to give Johnny what he deserves. However, he has yet to deliver what Terri Delighta deserves. Vipernip then Viper busts Terri in the middle of the ring. Exiting with momentum, Johnny is shocked and furious with his president's behavior. The president exits with a huge smile as Terri lays in pain. Speaking of the World Impetus Championship, Greg Williams is backstage in his locker room preparing to defend his title. The commentators question if Greg's priorities are where they should be as he enters yet another battle with Riki Mathews. A promotion for next week's Impetus is shown. Next week, the Coast to Coast Championship is on the line as Warren Jaxon defends against Steven Dreadful. Also, the Essentials call out El Fuego. And a number one contenders match has just been announced for the World Impetus Championship. Johnny Fabuloso will take on either Riki Mathews or Greg Williams. Changing scenes to the backstage interview area, Jade Williams is set for an interview. Hoping to announce Jade Williams, the interviewer is cut off as she is shoved off the interview area and dragged down the hallway. Jade tells the interviewer that if they want a scoop, then they'll go ask Daria how she feels. Jade then kicks down the door of the medical room, interrupting Daria's medical analysis. Jade orders everyone to see what she has done and asks what kind of champion Daria still is. Daria yells at her former contender, telling her to get the hell out, asking who the hell she thinks she is. With the cameraman, interviewer, and Jade forced out of the room by staff and security, the shot cuts to the commentators who are in disbelief. Aaron doesn't know what to make of Jade's actions. However, CJ does. CJ explains that Jade was simply showing the world what she did tonight. She hurt the champion and proved to be a better champion than the champion. Aaron debates and asks who has the gold. As the commentators argue, they need to move on as, up next, Immunity versus Skar and Susan. Enter Immunity, Bobby Manuel and Jerry Cain. Enter Skar and Susan. The immunity members are in fear as the sinister siblings approach the ring. Match 5. Immunity, Bobby Manuel and Cain versus Skar and Susan. As Bobby and Jerry struggle to keep their demonic opponents grounded, Angel appears to help distract the siblings, aiding her team into offense. With momentum building for Susan, she hopes to tag her brother, only for the opponents to strike her back down. With Angel distracting the official with her sexiness, Bobby climbs to the top rope for a double axe handle. However, he gets stopped as Skar makes his way into the ring in hopes to hit a superplex. Before hitting the move, Jerry comes in and places the monster on his shoulders, hitting the chaotic creature with an impressive and powerful power bomb. Jacked up and full of hype, Jerry turns around and is delivered a spear from Susan. Hoping to stop the sister, Bobby hopes for his double axe handle that he wanted moments ago, but receives a revival kick on the way down. Furious with the decreasing momentum, Angel jumps on the top rope as well, only for her throat to be clutched by Susan. Angel is thrown into the air, but is able to jump to the side. As Angel stumbles, Susan hopes for another revival kick, only for Angel to avoid the strike yet again, this time by dodging. Susan's kick connects, but to the official's face. With the referee knocked down, Angel is shaking like a leaf as the sinister sister glares her down. Angel's throat then gets clutched yet again by the sister, only for Charlie Finch to appear, kick Susan's knee out from underneath her, and hit her with the drive-by. With Finch exiting after his attack, the dirty tricks keep the sister down, allowing Bobby to cover for a tainted win. Winners, Immunity. After the match, Immunity exit in pain as Skar storms back in the ring to protect his sister, but it's too late. As Skar aids his family member, Finch stares at Skar, hopefully sending a message. Up next, the World Impetus Championship is on the line in the main event as Greg Williams takes on Riki Mathews. A promo package is then seen, reminding us of what a difference a year can make. Last year, Greg Williams was Greg Gordo. Adrenaline had not fully taken over, and Riki Mathews hadn't dealt with worse to come. Showing Riki's declining morale with his reputation being questioned and lawsuit destroying his life, this all happened after Greg Williams became the champion, defeating Riki Mathews. As Greg toppled the giants known as Adrenaline and Riki eliminating Sam from the business at the 2-year anniversary spectacular, a fresh path was created for the two, until they were led to a crossroads. With Vipernip being the new president, the World Impetus Championship match for Impulse 3 was advertised to Greg Williams' surprise. The press conference between Riki Mathews and the Rebel is heard, where the two got a lot off of their chests. For the second year in a row, Riki and Greg compete for the world title, only this time the roles have changed. Will the champion retain like last year, or will Riki, the challenger, reclaim what he lost so long ago? The traditional curtain call for the World Impetus Championship match then takes place. We first see Greg Williams walk through the backstage hallway with his title in hand. Enter Greg Williams. The curtain call then takes place for Riki Mathews. Enter Riki Mathews. Main event, Match 6, World Impetus Championship. Riki and Greg's second battle at Impulse turns into a war. With neither man quitting, even after hitting all of their finisher moves, the two are exhausted. Refusing to quit and in control, Greg attempts a Gordo cutter from the top rope, only for Riki to counter and fly off the top with a diving crossbody, starting a fatigued comeback. Reversing the eventual mat attack attempt, Greg throws a clothesline, only to be caught in the hyperlock for the first time in the match. Greg tries to reach the ropes, but after a long and agonizing struggle, he gets pulled back to the ring with Riki applying the triangle choke submission. Greg refuses to tap out to his own submission and musters up the strength to pick his opponent up and hit him with the turnbuckle bomb, followed by an instant scrutiny. The knee is hit for the second time. However, with Riki down and out, so too is Greg, unable to make a pin. Crawling with weakness, Greg covers only for Riki to kick out again. Greg can't believe it. The emotion of shock turns to fury as Greg refuses to be done. He then locks in his triangle choke on Riki. With Riki refusing to tap, Greg changes positions and applies the hyperlock. Riki struggles to reach the rope and, instead, decides to roll Greg onto his back, hoping to pin the champion. But Greg kicks out. With both men holding their arms in huge pain, the fight continues. Greg recovers first, readying himself in the corner. As Riki stirs, Greg pulls down his knee pad, hoping to hit his third and final scrutiny. Charging for the strike, Greg stops to see Riki cover up his face to absorb the blow. Refraining from pulling the trigger, Greg grabs Riki's arm, places it over his shoulder, and hits Vipernip's Viper Buster. Throwing shade to the new president, Greg covers, only for Riki to kick out. Acting instantly, Greg picks Riki up for the Gordo Cutter. Somehow, Riki slides over Greg's back and pushes the champion toward the ropes. Attempting a back body drop, Riki gets kicked in the chest by the Rebel and hit in the face with the exposed scrutiny. After an insane battle, Greg retains his title.